Enzo was furious. "Isn't that your father-in-law?" Charlie nodded. "Exactly. He's my father-in-law, not me. The person who broke it should be the one to pay for it." Enzo was annoyed, but what Charlie said made sense. He couldn't just force Charlie to pay. That would ruin the antique gallery's reputation. So he quickly ordered his staff, "Go get that old guy and bring him back here." Charlie watched them scramble to chase after Jacob and just chuckled to himself. He could have easily paid for it with his card, but why should he let his shameless father-in-law off the hook so easily? It was better to let the old man face the consequences. Otherwise, he'd just pull the same stunt again next time. All of the antique gallery's employees took off to catch Jacob. Now that he was alone, Charlie looked down at the broken vase on the floor. The vase was about 1.5 feet tall, and now it was shattered into 2 large pieces and a pile of smaller fragments. It was a real shame. But then he noticed something hidden inside the bottom half of the vase. He quickly reached in and pulled out a small wooden box. He couldn't believe it. There was a secret hidden inside the vase. The vase had a narrow neck and a wide body. The wooden box was clearly 2 or 3 times larger than the opening. It couldn't have been stuffed in later. It must have been placed inside when the vase was originally made. This meant the wooden box must have been from the Thompson period as well. He held the box in his hands, examining it carefully. With a bit of force, he popped it open with a soft click. As soon as the box opened, a strong, pleasant scent filled the air. Charlie took a deep breath and felt instantly refreshed. Looking closer, he saw a tiny, ancient book inside, no bigger than the palm of his hand. Charlie picked up the pocket-sized book and saw 4 ancient runes on the title page, spelling out the words, "Celestial Scriptures." "This title is pretty interesting. I wonder what's inside." Charlie opened the book to take a look. The first chapter was on medical arts, filled with countless case studies and treatment methods. Charlie frowned. He knew a little about holistic medicine and its basic principles, but the information in this book was clearly far more advanced than anything practiced today. Some of the diagnostic methods and treatments were completely unheard of. Towards the end of the medical arts chapter, Charlie even found sections on alchemy and potions with effects that seemed to defy modern science. Charlie was hooked. He sat right there on the floor, eagerly flipping through the pages. To his surprise, the esoteric scriptures also contained chapters on tarot card reading, various mystical techniques like treasure inspection and restoration, and a lot of other strange and wonderful things. Charlie read for a long time, feeling as if every word was being etched directly into his mind. His heart pounded with excitement. This was an incredible treasure. Charlie was ecstatic and quickly tried to tuck the mystic texts into his coat. But as he did, the book instantly turned to dust and vanished. However, every single word from the book was now perfectly etched into Charlie's mind. Just then, Jacob was dragged back in by a few big, tough-looking guys. The red, swollen marks on both sides of his face showed they hadn't been gentle. Seeing how pathetic he looked, Charlie had to fight back a laugh. This old fool gets himself into trouble and then tries to blame me for it. Letting him learn his lesson was the right punishment. Jacob was completely humiliated. He had tried to make a run for it and was totally out of breath. He was old, out of shape, and couldn't run fast. How could he possibly outrun these younger guys? So after just a few steps, they caught him, tied him up, and slapped him around a few times. He looked absolutely miserable. The men dragged Jacob back in front of Enzo, who gritted his teeth and snarled, "You old goat! You think you can break our vase and just run off? You're not going to stiff the antique gallery." Jacob, terrified, stammered, "I didn't mean to. The vase was just too slippery." Enzo shot back coldly, "Cut the crap. I'll give you until this afternoon to get the money. If you can't pay up, I'm calling the cops and reporting you for intentional destruction of property. A case worth over $5 million is enough to put you in prison for a long time." Jacob was trembling with fear. He looked at Charlie like he was his last hope. "Charlie, my dear son-in-law, you have to save me. I'm ruined." Charlie said helplessly, "Dad, I don't have that kind of money." Jacob blurted out, "Then you can go to jail for me. Our family has taken care of you for this long. It's time you paid us back." Charlie was stunned. How could the man have the nerve to say something like that? Just as he was about to refuse, Enzo stepped in. The one who did the crime does the time. The antique gallery is an honest business. You broke the vase, so you have to be the one to pay for it. Then he turned to Charlie. "You're free to go, but it would be wise to help him get the money together. Otherwise, this afternoon, I'm turning him over to the police." Charlie gave a slight nod. Jacob, terrified, started crying. "My dear son-in-law, you can't just leave me here. What am I going to do if you go?" Seeing him so scared, Charlie found it hard not to laugh. But of course, he couldn't let it show on his face. He was about to make an excuse to go raise money and let the old man stew in his own mess for a while. But then he remembered the ancient method for repairing porcelain he had just read about in the book. He had an idea. "Mr. Zimmerman, if I can fix that antique porcelain vase, will you let him go?" Enzo scoffed. "And who do you think you are? You think you can just restore antiques? For your information, I've already sent photos to the top New York antique experts." Charlie just shook his head. "The vase is already broken, so it's useless as it is. What have you got to lose by letting me try? I won't make it any worse." Enzo sneered dismissively. "Fine, be my guest. I'd love to see what a clown like you can do." Charlie said, "Get me a sheet of vellum, a fine brush, and 5 eggs. And make sure the eggs are raw." Enzo, eager to see Charlie make a fool of himself, quickly found a basket of raw eggs for him. But he couldn't help but taunt him. "Using eggs to repair a historical artifact? I've never heard of anything so ridiculous. I'm warning you, don't try any funny business. Either you pay up, or we're taking your father-in-law to court. $5 million is enough to put him away for life." Charlie nodded. "And what if I do fix it?" Enzo scoffed coldly. "If you can actually fix it, and I mean really fix it, so that experts agree most of its value is restored, then you can walk out of here." "Okay," Charlie nodded. "You've got a deal." Without another word, he picked up the fine brush and drew the outline of the antique porcelain vase on the vellum. Then he cracked an egg, making a small opening. He dipped his index finger in the egg white, carefully coated a shard of the vase with it, and pressed it onto the outline on the paper. He did this again and again, piece by piece. Slowly, the vase began to take shape on the vellum model. Everyone watched in silence, afraid to break his concentration. Soon, half an hour passed. When Charlie finally stood up, a Thompson period antique porcelain vase that looked brand new sat before them. He smiled at Enzo. "Go ahead. See if you can find a single flaw." Enzo picked up the vase, turning it over and over in his hands. Then he said with a, "Are you kidding me? You just glued it together with egg whites, and you call that a repair? Maybe I should break your leg and try gluing it back together with egg. How about that?" "Don't you dare touch that vase!" A sharp, urgent voice cut through the room from the doorway. A moment later, a stunning woman in a chic white pantsuit walked in. She had a gorgeous face and a tall, flawless figure, standing close to 5 feet 7 inches. She carried herself with an air of pure luxury. Her beautiful eyes scanned the room, filled with an icy, regal confidence, like an ice queen. The second Enzo saw her, the color drained from his face. He quickly bowed his head respectfully. "Miss, what brings you here?" The visitor was none other than the true owner of the antique gallery, Warnia Smith. the eldest daughter of the Smith family, one of the most powerful families in Oris Hill. Warnia, her voice sharp with anger. If I hadn't shown up, you probably would have burned this whole place to the ground. What is going on? Enzo gave a pained smile and quickly explained. A customer was looking at the vase and accidentally broke it. His son-in-law tried to fix it with an egg. I was just about to tell him that a repair like this is worthless and that we needed to discuss compensation. Warnia leaned over the antique porcelain vase, examining it closely. After a moment, her expression changed dramatically. She spun on Enzo, her voice sharp. Let go of that now! Who told you it was okay to touch it? You have no idea what you're doing. Enzo was completely stunned. Miss, I don't understand. Warnia snapped. This is a newly restored historical artifact. Until the restoration has fully set, no one is supposed to touch it except the expert who fixed it. Don't you know that basic rule? Enzo stammered. But he just used egg whites to glue it back together. How is that a real repair? Warnia's eyes flashed with anger. You fool! She scolded. With this repair, the vase's value would have at least doubled. But because you put your greasy hands all over it, you've just cost us at least $2 million. Pack your things. You're fired. I don't want to see you here tomorrow. She remembered seeing a similar porcelain plate at an auction in San Francisco. The plate's history was fascinating. It was an antique porcelain piece from the Thompson period that had been broken during a later period. But master craftsmen from that time had repaired it using this very same technique. And because this repair method was so incredibly rare and was thought to be lost to history, the plate sold for a staggering $13 million. Far more than its original value. Now this vase had been repaired by Charlie using that same lost technique. Its value was about to skyrocket. Enzo's face went pale. He couldn't believe that just by touching the antique porcelain vase, he had cost the gallery a fortune and lost his job. Warnia then asked, "Where is the man who repaired this antique porcelain vase? Take me to him."